Alright, so we got our edge all nice and draw filed. So now what we want to do is we're going to poke some holes and some hole patterns in this. So a couple ways I could do this. You pull the vise off, clamp this on the table with toe clamps, and you know, get the boring head up and do all that. But I'm really lazy, so I generally look for ways to not take the vise off if they're reasonably equivalent as far as accuracy and holding. So that's what we're going to do here. We are not going to take the vise off. I'm going to open this up a bit. Grab some parallels. And I got a piece of bar here. I'm just going to set that in like so. Clamp this down nicely. Let's make sure it's down good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put this on top here like so. And now I got an overhang here, nice heavy-duty overhang, and I can put a few clamps on this and I'm off and running. In fact, let's just keep going here. Start with 2 here. Let's go like that. So I'm not going to put these tight right now. I'm just going to put them on here to kind of get them basically located. All right. All right. Where's my 5/8 collet? Over on the other machine. So we're going to pick up that nice center line we put. Ouch! That nice center line we put on there. And what we'll do is we'll come over here. Get kind of close, and then I'll leave this loose. And I'm just going to plop into my my center pop there and just kind of hold that down. Put this right on the end. So get an eyeball centering there. And then the idea here is similar to how we lined this up. We're just going to come down here a nice distance, farther the better. Scooch that over so it's on the line. And then, you know, you're going to take a couple of back and forths here to get it where we want it. But we would have to do that if it was down on the actually, it's pretty damn good. Okay. We'd have to do that if it was down on the deck there as well. Now all we're doing is, oops, you know what? I forgot something. Okay, so that's actually lined up pretty good. What I forgot was I don't actually want to put holes in this plate here, so I'm gonna put something in between there just to give me a little bit of space. Excuse me, when I bore those holes and I poke some other holes, so I don't. This is going to be my tool post on that Autometric, so I don't want to scar that plate up. So anyway, I'm gonna lift it up and put some sacrificial shims under there. But anyway, you get the idea. We'll put four cant twists on there, and then we're off to the races in pretty short order. My vise stays on. All right, so we got 2 holes here to do. We got one that's a little over 2 inches, and then we got one that's 3 3/4 that we got to cut. So a couple ways we can do this. So what I thought we would do is we'll use one of these annular cutters here. This is a rotobroach, a Hugin rotobroach. It's not quite big enough, so what we're going to do is just blow through there, and then we're going to get the boring head out and open that up to the 2.03 inches. Yeah, it's just a little over 2 inches to accommodate the boss there, 52 millimeters, something like that. And then this one here, we're going to use a different technique to rough the hole out, and then we'll finish it with the boring head. So now you can use one of these, and you can just go around and can you see all that? Yeah. Go around and take some bites out of that and kind of work your way around, but I'm going to show a different way of doing that. So let's pop this one first. And if you haven't seen these roto broaches in action, they're pretty cool, actually. Quite the pile of chips there. Let's get that off of there. Okay, that's an 1.5 inch hole, and I wasn't pushing it very hard either. You know, you can pull this out and you guys can get a look at that. Slightly warm. I usually, if I have a bunch of these to do, I usually have a pair of pliers or something to... Oh, come on, there it goes. Of course, it falls in the hole, and it'll be hard to get out of there. Well, you know, it's sometimes you know, it's got a little rim on the bottom that makes it hard to get out of the hole. Anyway, you can see that basically this takes out a little annulus there, and you know, you're only cutting a little rim width of stuff out of there, so they're pretty efficient that way. So now we'll get the boring head and we'll open that up, and then we'll show the other method on this one. Okay, for this side we're going to do something a little different. I got a 1/2 inch end mill in there, and what we're going to do is we're going to hand interpolate this thing. So let's go ahead and start here. So I'm just going to dig in a little bit here. Maybe halfway, something like that. Alright. Then the idea will be kind of work my way around, and I'm looking at the line. So the trick here is to not get greedy and try to get too close to the line. And this technique works good for large holes, you know, where it would take you a while to work your way out to that diameter. Now, obviously, if you have a CNC, this is like, you know, you don't need to know this, but this is a cool way of doing this kind of stuff. You know, if you use a smaller end mill, it's a little less pressure, but then it doesn't, it's not as stiff, and your reach is not so good. Okay, so there's one pass there. You kind of get the idea. So now, theoretically, we should be able to just pop through. And what's nice when you pop through is the chips go out the bottom. If you got a little bit of space underneath there, which we do, but okay, so that's through. Make sure I'm not digging into my right there. Let's lock that good. All right, let's go around again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change the camera around a little bit. All right, let's continue on. All right, continue on there. The X-axis handle was hitting the tripod. Now, believe it or not, I can't see what I'm doing there, barely. Try to speed it up a little bit. That's a little smoother. And the chips are kind of flying out of there a little bit better too, so. Now you see, I don't need a lot of lube here. You know, just enough to keep the works from getting gummed up there. So, you know, you don't need flood coolant on everything. It's surprising how little oil you actually need, you know, for a lot of these operations. Alright, now, I gotta be a little careful when I come through and break through, because I want it to break through kind of gently. It'll start to vibrate, but we have and I want to clear the chips right before it breaks. Otherwise it can get jammed in there and cause trouble. Alright, we're getting close. Get most of the chips out of there. Alright. Now we're just going to ease up onto that. Okay, there's about 1/8 of an inch left. Alright, one more chip clear. Okay, here it goes. That's it. Sort of circular. Okay, so now we got a pretty good sized hole that's relatively round, and we can go in there with our boring head and just finish that up. Okay, so we got the boring head set up here, so let's run this thing out a bit. All right, and what we're looking for is, I got it in neutral right now, is I'm looking for it to just catch that edge. I'm on center here. Okay, so let's just touch it now. Kick it in gear, and I'm going to give it a cut. And I think we're way too fast right now. Let's, I think I'm going to try the bottom end of the low range, or the high range. Okay, so I'm getting a bit of vibration there because of the eccentric. So let's see if I can find a... a little bit of vibration there. It's not too bad. All right, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to zero my coil readout. That way I know when I get through this, through the plate, and I don't want to bang into my support plate there. So let's try a cut and see how it goes. And oh, you know what? I think I am going to use the Keith Fenner hand feed wheel here. Yeah, let's try that. All right. So, let's engage that. Yeah, this is a... Oop, what's going on there? I should be able to just... Why isn't that engaging? Come on, you bugger. There it goes. So I'm feeding with this the hand wheel here. So, all right, where was I here? Let's try that. Oh yeah, sweet. Okay. Oh, I like that. I like that. Okay. All right, so rinse and repeat. Let's take another. So, you know, I got my scribe line that I can see there, so it's not, I don't have to pay attention. Well, I got to pay attention. I don't have to worry too much about measuring until I get a little closer. All right, now we're starting to get kind of close here. All right, I'm gonna land on a number here, just to make the next part easier. And then after this cut, I'll take a measurement here and see where we're at. Let's try slowing that down a little more even. Okay, so it looks like we're a shade over 2 inches, and let's get a little measurement, and then we'll dial in that last bit and call it good. Let's see what we got here. Oh, that's closer than I want it to be. All right, geez. Well, you know what? Sometimes you kind of get lucky, right? So we're just going to take another. I must have scribed that circle a little bit big. It's the only thing I can think of because I only had about 5 thousandths left on the hole. God. All right. This should be last cut here. And do a nice slow feed. So normally you would leave more than that, unlike some dingle farbs. Fortunately, this is not a precision bore. And that would have been pretty scary if you spent a lot of time getting to this point. Okay, so now I'm through, and what I want to do now, and I probably mentioned this before, is if you run the tool back over the top of that, sometimes it'll leave a line. So I'm just going to move off and then come up. That way the tool doesn't drag on the hole. All right. Oh yeah, nice finish. Okay, so I got to change this around to do this big guy over here. Before I get started, I better double check my my holicus here. Yeah, okay. And so then we'll do this. We'll do the big guy. Okay, so we're set up. We're on this big hole now, and we're going to open this thing up. I haven't checked the speed yet. Sure, why not? That looks pretty good. Now it's going to be an interrupted cut initially, like that. So we got to go a little bit easy here. And it's hitting in a couple places there. My semi-round hole. Now I gotta watch it because I got this my little spacer piece under there that's kind of sticking up a little bit. I don't want to snag that thing either. It'll behave itself better when it's a full cut all the way around. Close to the bottom now. I want to kind of go easy here until I get the first cut out of the way. Look out here, actually. Okay, so it's just catching that now. I don't know if you can see that down there. It's catching that spacer, so I just want to kind of eat that away slowly. Ooh, that's pretty. That's kind of a horrid noise, isn't it? Darn it. Well, this kind of a pain in the neck to get out of there without moving anything. Well, let's see if we can get down into it. Yeah, it's cutting on the bottom of that insert. So you can see it there. That's why it's squeaking. It's not actually. It's kind of a non-cutting edge there. So I actually need to do something about that. So back up. Well, let's. It's in low gear, so it's hard to turn. All right, let's do this. What we'll do is we'll back it up and we'll trim that mess away there with the good part of the tool. Right there like that. Then I'll come back out and catch it with the, then it'll be cleared out of the way for me, so. All right, let's try that. Probably still gonna squeak, but probably it right there. Alright, let's come back out. That's a pretty horrid little noise, isn't it? Let's see, that's where I was touching before. Alright. That's mainly it. Cutting almost all the way around now. Okay, rinse and repeat. Alright, let's give it a little bite this time. Okay, we got about 60 thousandths to go, millimeter and a half or so. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Let's go 50. I'll change the camera angle. Alright, so this next cut should be our kind of our last cut, I think. Alright, so we're right there. Let me get a more accurate measurement and then we'll dial in that last little bit. Alright, let's get a measurement in there. And once again, this isn't any precision bore. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, 3" 731. We want 3" 750. So it's 19 thousandths. Alright, so let's dial in 19. I'm just going to take the whole thing. It's 10. 19, okay. Alright, so this is a finished cut here. A little bit of juice. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm gonna do what I was saying. Oops, bonk the tripod there. So I just move off. That way I don't drag the tool up. Get rid of that. Okay. Calipers. That's one problem with these when you're right at the end of their travel. Alright, so 753. Okay, so we're a little over. No big deal. Alright, so I think that's it for the boring head.